What are you doing? Hello everyone, welcome back. So I actually had Mabel at the vet's yesterday, so I thought I'd do another health update. Basically, for quite a long time now, Mabel has gradually been losing weight. She'd gone from, she was already quite a low weight anyway, she was around 800 grams. She'd even dropped lower than that to about 700 grams, and she'd had a few other symptoms of something being not quite right because she kept having quite bad diarrhea just on and off for a long time, and obviously she'd also been struggling to eat a bit. She had like permanent drool on her chin. So it was all really pointing to a dental problem. The other thing she had was she'd be eating some hay, and halfway through eating the hay, it would get stuck in her mouth. It would just be sticking out. It's as though it got trapped and she couldn't sort of chew anymore. She would be able to chew a bit of it, but then it would sometimes get stuck. So she was just kind of walking around with like a bit of hay stuck in her mouth. So it was all kind of pointing to a dental problem, really. So I took her to the vets to get it checked. They just used like a basic tool to have a look at like the back teeth at the molars. And they couldn't really see anything, so they said she'd just eaten. It was quite hard to see because her mouth was like just full of food. Really, the only way they could have a good look was to put her, like sedate her and see what's going on if there was anything. So I did take her back the next day, which was yesterday, and they put her under an anaesthetic to get a proper look at the teeth, see what was going on. And they actually did find that the ones on the right hand side were fine. They were like being worn down, and that she was kind of choosing to eat on that side of her mouth, which is why the molars on the right were all worn down properly. But on the left, it was kind of as though she'd not been eating on that side of her mouth properly. So what they had to do was file the ones on the left down so that they were back to how they should be, really. They said they weren't so bad as, you know, cutting into her tongue or anything, because I think they can do that, and like the guinea pigs can get trouble swallowing food properly if their molars start to like obstruct their tongue, I think. But luckily they'd not got to that stage yet. It was just, I think, even with guinea pigs, if their teeth are slightly out of how they should be, out of place, or slightly overgrown, it can really affect them. I think just the slightest thing wrong can cause quite a lot of issues. So the vets concluded that probably because of she has like a head tilt, and she's kind of been left with this permanent head tilt since she had her ear infection, which has kind of made her eat on one side of her mouth more because of like the way her head sits. I think that's what their conclusion was. So because of this head tilt that she has, it's causing her to eat more on the right hand side than on the left, because she's sort of tilting towards the right. So it may be something that she has to have, you know, several times again. We'll see how she goes, but obviously, you know, it's not necessarily a permanent fix what they've done, but we'll see how she goes. Obviously give it another good few months and see how she gets on, make sure that, you know, everything's still okay. But yeah, she recovered quite well from the anaesthetic yesterday. She has been having a bit of balance problems. She's already got a bit of balance issues because of like the ear infection, the head tilt that she had. It's just kind of a permanent thing now. But the anaesthetic made her really off balance yesterday. The thing is about Mabel, she never really gives up, despite all the health problems that she's going through, really, and that she has been through. She just keeps fighting, and she's always got a great appetite. I think that's the thing with guinea pigs. The thing that tends to be like life-threatening to them is if they get unwell and stop eating. That's actually can be the thing that causes them to go downhill very quickly. But despite all Mabel's problem that she's been through, she remains to have a very good appetite, which is super. Obviously, I've just put this blanket over her while she's out eating because I don't want her to get chilly while she's out, but obviously in the hutch they've got the straw and heat pad, so they're alright when they're in there, but just while she's out now eating, I don't want her to get chilly. And also the vet said that the abscess that she had on her head, it's kind of down to a small, like, a tiny hole now. They did say there was still a little bit of discharge coming out of it, obviously nothing to the extent it was before. There's still, obviously, a tiny bit of infection coming out of there from, you know, they say it's very deep-rooted, and it will take probably, you know, a long time to fully clear out. So, yeah, still kind of dealing with the aftermath of that, but it's looking probably the best it has. It's just kind of, yeah, just a little bit left coming out of there now, but it's mostly dry, and generally when I check there isn't anything coming out of it. But yeah, that's a little update on Mabel. Obviously she's been through a lot. She's had quite a eventful day yesterday, but still going, still plodding on, bless her. But yeah, it's just kind of like a chain reaction of health problems, really. One thing leads to another, which is why we're still kind of, you know, having issues with her. But obviously if we can get her back on eating much more food without trouble and get her eating her hay properly again, that's got to be a good thing. Try and get that weight back on her, which should be easier now if she's not having the diarrhoea, and that if she can eat her hay properly.